3-0.
Oh, you got the cheetah package up there this weekend or this show. That's nice.
Cheetah. I still don't see anything.
It's just frozen on SSC After Dark to me.
Yeah, I can see you actually at the bottom in a little box.
Yeah, I see you in a little box too.
Yeah.
Still 3-0.
All right, there we are.
In the 7th half.
There we are. SEC After Dark. Corey is going to be here in just a little bit. He's having a little bit of a tornado problem at the moment, so we're just waiting for him to go. He's going to try and log on his phone. So until he comes in, Buzz will be there, just like Aubie is here for Jake and Mr. Commodore. Yeah. I think that's his name, is there for Jeb. So we
never be late on this show.
Yeah. This show, like all shows, is sponsored by Bet Online, betonline.net. Ole Miss is a current 14.5-point favorite over Auburn. All the lines down below are brought to you by Bet Online. So give them a look. Find out what the over-under is. Have some fun. We got all the information down below for you. But, guys, we got a whole bunch of fun games this weekend. Maybe not necessarily including Ole Miss and Auburn, because I did 2 or 3 shows today, and there are some down morale people when talking about Auburn football at the moment. It's something I've never seen before, but it was just a whole bunch of head shaking, and it's like, oh, this is rough. But you guys have the battle this weekend. The third Saturday in October actually means something for the first time in a long time. Jake, what do you think about that?
You know, honestly, I'm even if Bryce plays, I'm kind of worried about it. I mean, that Tennessee offense looks really, really good. Now, there's some reports, Jeb may know more, but there were some reports that Tillman is still not healthy, and Harple said that he was not going to play unless he was 100%. So, you know, there's a lot of rumors going around about that. A lot of rumors about Bryce still, but after the A&M game last week, it is kind of concerning. Now the defense looks really good for Bama, but you know, if Milroe goes in, I just don't know how we're going to keep up scoring wise with Tennessee.
Yeah, that's an interesting situation. What do you think about the Vols, Jeb?
Well, and we have been getting a lot of the back and forth reports on Cedric Tillman. Right now, I think most people think he is going to play, but the offense is just clicking so well that this is just it gives Tennessee a lot more hope than we usually have. I don't know though. I don't know that any defenses, either Florida or LSU or Pitt or any of them that they faced are going to be like Alabama's. Certainly haven't faced anybody like Will Anderson yet. So I'm real interested to see what happens if our line can keep him away from Hendon Hooker long enough to complete some of these passes. It would help if he had his number one receiver back. So, Tennessee fans are kind of the opposite of what you're saying. We are not. I don't think that we all think we're going to win, but this is the first time we've had this much optimism going into a game against Alabama in 10 years. It's exciting actually. It's been a great week.
Yeah, it should be fun. I think Dolly Parton is the guest picker for the game, and she's an honorary captain. I mean, they are pulling out all the stops at the moment.
You do not disparage Dolly Parton. We've already explained this. Okay, this is the woman who sings Rocky Top. Don't disparage.
Oh my God.
Well,
Becky,
okay, fine. No, that'll be exciting. I will be excited to hear what she has to say. You know, she won't say anything negative about Alabama. She's just not a negative person. So it's not going to be Katy Perry coming on and throwing corn dogs at the screen or anything, but it should still be interesting. Have fun.
Yeah. It should be really good. You know, while we're waiting on Corey to see if he comes in, we should probably go in last week's games because there are some things that we need to talk about at the moment. I see you got to use Buzz. That is Corey Burton in the chat. He's trying to do whatever he needs to do. But there it is.
The chat is live tonight. I love it. It is active right out of the bat.
Yeah, it's bouncing. It's like the club. It really is.
Yeah, let's go.
So, all right. Let's see. I'm trying to figure out how to get it on mobile. Corey, download the app, and then after you load the app, close the app, and then open it again. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that makes all kinds of sense. All right, so let's talk about Week 6 in the SEC. We'll start off with the Florida Gators with a 7-point win over the, do you even say upstart Missouri Tigers? Because they're 0-3 now. I mean, but they've looked good in losing. It's almost Vanderbilt territory, with them coming in and playing well but losing. It's almost a lovable loser type thing. Missouri has some weapons, but honestly, not near enough, and it's probably going to end up costing a lot of Drinkwitz's job.
I don't think it should. They're playing a lot harder than I thought they play. I didn't expect them to even be close in a couple of these games, and they looked good. Well, good is relative. They've played hard. Okay, I know, but what more can you really ask for if you don't have the talent? I don't know. He still hasn't been there very long, so I would give him more time if I was them. But
there's not enough time for them to get their players that they need for their program and for what they run, in place. So, it just kind of sucks when you're constantly changing coaches every other year and you can't get established. So, but Missouri has been in a lot of games this year, which has surprised me. Of course, the Auburn game, if the guy would have not tried to, put the ball forward over the goal line, they would have won in overtime.
Yeah.
And then that epic fourth quarter comeback, or I guess you could call it letdown for Missouri. Yeah. For Georgia, of all people, they took Georgia to the wire for 3.5 quarters. So, I mean, they played hard.
Was crazy.
It was. But, I have said it several times, and I still believe this. There's really not a team that looks unbeatable this year. Alabama looks beatable. Georgia looks beatable. Ohio State, they have struggled in the past. USC has struggled. Clemson has struggled. There's not a one team out there that says, okay, I feel like they can win the championship without having any kind of problems this year.
Yeah. Let's see. Guyton Bush says Jackson Dart will go down as the best quarterback in SEC history. Well, that's a take.
Probably not this year.
Yeah. 3-peat on national championships. Remember this moment. You heard from Guyton Bush first. There we go. He's whenever the chat is humming, the chat is humming. And as you can tell right now, we are all about the SIP. As simple as that.
As much as I love Tennessee's chances here and what they're doing, Ole Miss has a better chance of maybe either going undefeated or one loss. I mean, your toughest game left is Alabama. Everyone else, well, Mississippi State will be fun because it's the Egg Bowl. But you should beat pretty much everybody else. So I don't know. I'm curious to see what Ole Miss is going to do. That Alabama game could determine whether you're in the playoffs or not.
Yeah. If Ole Miss gets through the next 3 weeks, and the next 3 weeks are going to be difficult. Auburn, for whatever reason, they have some crazy voodoo against Ole Miss. LSU, that's going to be a game. Texas A&M and College Station, that's going to be tough. But if Ole Miss gets through those 3, it's going to be at a higher level and more amped up version of 2014.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's going to be exciting.
Yeah.
And Auburn, I understand what you mean about the voodoo because Tennessee had that with Florida. Even when we thought we were the better team, we just still expect to go in there and have some crap happen. And it almost did with them coming back near the end. But I don't know. I think at this point, Auburn's more worried about who their next coach is going to be than they are, if they're going to win a game. So I feel bad for those fans because Tennessee's been going through that for years. So I know how that feels.
Yeah, and Corey can't quite figure out how to get in. He's trying to get in on the mobile app and do whatever because he normally goes in through his computer, and he's got some tornado issues in Middle Tennessee, which Jeb's up there too. So you got some bad weather, Jeb?
I have not had any. I had some people at work today say that I brought the bad weather up from Florida with me because it was storming around them, and it was sunny here. I don't know why. Smyrna apparently is in some little pocket. Yeah. Now, we did get some rain a little later on, but it hadn't been bad.
Yeah, it actually rained down here for the first time since the hurricane. It actually rained today. So,
wow.
Oh, I like John's comment. He's trying to lure Dion to Atlanta with a pick of Buzz. That's good.
Yeah, but Buzz is great.
That's good,
Buzz,
John. I like
Buzz
that.
is an underrated mascot. I mean, if you look at it, you can say what you want to. Obby's a great mascot, but he's not going to be in the top 5 because there's about 6 different mascots that look just like Obby. You know, Big Al is a decent mascot. Ole Miss is going that weird thing where they just don't have one, and they haven't for 20 years. So, you know, maybe Ole Miss is a bad one. Maybe Ole Miss doesn't have one. So,
Right.
so
See some
we
of the
got,
TikToks where they do the show where they're actually talking about the schools, how they pick their mascots.
yeah.
The Ole Miss, actually, they're all pretty funny. I've seen the Ole Miss, Tennessee, and Alabama. They're all great. We'll just do a bear and a shark and an old guy in a suit.
All right.
So
I want to go to Michael's comment there. He says, "How much will Auburn pay people to not coach?" See, Auburn's in a very, very unique situation because I mean, if they fire Harsin, I mean, this is what the 3rd coach they have fired. They're still paying for, and I mean, and at this point, who are you gonna go get? I mean, nobody really wants to go
That's the
down there and in that dumpster fire right now. So maybe a high school coach. I mean, who would they go after?
yeah, I have no idea, but they'll probably go outside of the SEC. I don't think any coach is going from SEC to SEC. I don't think that's happening anymore.
Right.
So they'll probably go and they'll pick somebody in the Big 12. They'll, you know, if Auburn gets rid of somebody, there's a chance Lance Leipold from Kansas ends up at Auburn. I mean,
I hope not.
that would fit the profile for what Auburn normally hires. They're used to hiring obscure coaches from other conferences. Chauncey asked me said, "What's the spread Saturday if Mississippi State and Ole Miss meet?" And I'd say Ole Miss -5, something like that. Ole Miss has the advantage, and you have home field that's going to play a part in it as well. Yeah, the Egg Bowl deciding the West, Cody. That is my biggest dream and my worst nightmare all at the same time.
Hey, Cody hadn't been on in a while. Good to have you back,
Yeah.
buddy.
Yeah. So should be
I don't
interesting.
think Hugh Freeze will come to Auburn because I don't think SEC is going to let him back in.
Potentially, but if there's any place that he would go to,
It would be Auburn.
that would be Auburn, because
Yeah.
Auburn, they would, what's the word? Sell their soul. I think that's their word.
There you go. That's how you put it.
Yes,
They're
John.
willing to do that. I think if Auburn could, they would hire Art Briles.
That'd be a good one. John, Bill O'Brien can get hired by anybody. I couldn't care less who it is, but he needs to go away. And he needs to go away before the Tennessee game.
Yeah, the rumor is, by the way, speaking of the Tennessee game, let's talk about the Tennessee. They beat LSU 40-13. It wasn't close. They went down to Tiger Stadium and just beat them down, Jeb. Tennessee handling LSU this weekend. Talk about that game a little bit, bud.
Well, that game, okay, this is the game I wanted to see out of Tennessee for a while, because Tennessee's had a tendency with their offense to put up good points, but you just never feel comfortable throughout the game, like with Florida, where you just in the end. Oh, Corey made it. Look at that.
Dadgummit.
But no, it's just you always felt like in the end the other team was going to have a chance to come back because of that defense, and that did not happen this week. They played solid the entire game. They kept LSU from scoring more than 13 points. It was honestly, and really at no point did LSU really seem like they were about to win that game or come back on us. Honestly, this was one of the better games I've seen at Tennessee in a long time, just because I've been wanting to see that so badly for so long. So, no, exciting.
Yeah.
What's up,
Hope they
gentlemen?
do it against Alabama.
Hey, Corey. You got power
Welcome
now.
back, man.
Got power. Yeah,
right.
the internet just popped back on. We're ready to roll.
Cody's back in the chat with the 56K
Hey.
Corey comment.
56K. Nice. No, this was this was fun. Our power's been out since like 4:00. So
Well, 2 weeks ago, my power was out for 3 days. So,
yeah,
yeah,
there you
I have
go.
to outdo you in everything I do.
I know.
Where
you
did the
do.
Wasps go? That's good. That's a yellow jacket, but yeah. Yeah.
We'll call it a wasp.
Yeah, that's Corey's hero, Buzz.
Yeah,
That's right.
I've always grown up, always wanted to be Buzz.
And if Jeb is late, you'll get to see Mr. Commodore. And if Jake is late, you'll get to see Aubie. And if I'm late, you won't get to see anything because it's my machine that runs everything.
If you're late, we just don't do the show.
Yeah. Becky, can you fix that somehow?
Can you give me the password?
Yeah.
Great.
We
I was trying
talked
to
about.
listen. Yeah, I was trying to listen in on YouTube. Obviously, I was commenting on a lot of stuff, but I vaguely kind of heard what you guys were doing. I was trying frantically to get on the Wirecast Go app. I've got to say, it's about as difficult of an app as you could possibly get.
Yeah, it's a pain in the butt. It really is.
Like it will not recognize that I'm trying to join a session.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that was the frustrating. It just kept like acting like I was trying to start my own session. I was like, no, I want to put a link in for another session. Like I want this link to automatically open Wirecast and let's go. So, yeah.
Ooh, here's a question. We can do this before we continue on. Chauncey asked, "What SEC teams don't win the Sun Belt?"
This year, Arkansas,
South
And
Carolina,
Hey, the Sunbelt's
Missouri.
good this year, so
Missouri, Florida,
Vandy.
Vandy.
yeah, obviously Vandy.
Well, basically, the Sun Belt goes through Myrtle Beach.
The Fun Belt.
So,
Or whichever one, wherever James Madison's in. LSU, yeah, LSU would not
LSU.
win the Sun Belt.
Auburn.
Yeah.
Auburn, that's good. Yeah.
And honestly, I would say the teams that would win the Sun Belt is probably a list of about 5 or 6 long, and that's about it.
so we're saying the Sun Belt is as good as the SEC.
No,
Is that where
that's
we're
not
at
what
right
I'm
now?
saying. That's not what I'm saying.
No.
The Sun Belt is as good as the bottom of the E SEC.
Yes, but you could say like, all right, so let's do this game with the Big Ten and the MAC. What Big Ten teams don't win the MAC?
Oh, I don't know anything about the MAC.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Who cares about that one?
Well,
What Big
well,
Ten teams
Bachelor.
don't win the Sun Belt?
Rutgers.
Rutgers, Wisconsin, Maryland.
All of them except Ohio State, Michigan, and Illinois.
Yeah.
Maybe Minnesota.
That's going to be a fun matchup, Minnesota versus Illinois this week.
Yeah, it is.
And Nebraska.
Well, we know A&M would automatically be Sun Belt runner-up based on the fact that they lose the tiebreaker with App State.
It's good.
Who's the next Sun Belt SEC coach? Dude, Chauncey's bringing out some good questions tonight.
I don't
Yeah.
think Chadwell goes to Auburn. Chadwell's the next big coach to get hired out of there.
Yeah, I think one of them goes to the SEC, and I think Chadwell could be a candidate at either Georgia Tech or Auburn. Whichever one Dion doesn't go to, I think the other might go there.
Well, Chadwell, I think, would have success at Georgia Tech because they got some of those option people, and they do like a extremely modernized Star Trek version of the triple option. It's so much fun to watch, so awesome to watch.
So great. I would say I was a closet Coastal Carolina fan, but I'm just out in the open now.
Matt Rule's got to be going to Nebraska. I see him going to Nebraska.
It's
Either that or Wisconsin.
No, Wisconsin's got their guy, Jimmy Leonard.
What if
Yeah.
Jimmy Leonard doesn't win, doesn't perform, and they try and go out and get Lance Leipold, who is
They got their
from
guy.
Whitewater.
I tell you who they would get if Jimmy Leonard didn't work out, which they're gonna move mountains and earth to make sure he does work out. But it'd be Sean Lewis from Kent State is who they'd go after. He's a Badger alum.
Okay.
Is who they'd go after.
So Nebraska, Matt Rule.
yeah.
So who gets Lance Leipold?
I think Kansas ponies up.
Really?
Yeah.
They should.
I
He's
think he
turned
likes
that program
it.
around.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
are.
Hey, I'm all for it. I like a good Kansas. I didn't know that 2007 was important to me.
He's gonna pull a Matt Campbell and turn down all these jobs and stay. And Kansas is gonna reward him for it. because Texas and Oklahoma are leaving the Big 12, so your two biggest brands are leaving. Your two biggest football brands are leaving, which means the biggest football brand in the Big 12 is up for grabs.
Yeah.
Oklahoma State's still there, though.
Yeah,
And Baylor.
Yeah. And Kansas has got their guy, so they're going to make sure they keep him so they can jump in there and be a basketball
Kansas State
and
has their
football
guy,
brand.
too.
Yeah.
Kansas is about to pull a Kentucky here,
You think?
where they start investing in football.
Well, they
I
need
don't
to.
know. Kansas basketball has been up there for years, though. You know,
Recent national champions, they've been good for a long time.
they have.
TCU with Sonny Dykes, it reminds me of when Sonny Cumbie was around there in 2014. That year for TCU. TCU is legit this year.
2014 TCU, yeah.
Yeah.
Where they got screwed out of the playoff. Yeah, they're legit, dude.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But they got a tough one against Okie State.
Yeah.
Okie State's balling, dude.
They are. They're really good this year.
So, how about those Arkansas Razorbacks?
No.
Yeah, after KJ Jefferson got done listening to I Bleav I Can Fly and tried to fly, their season has not been the same since.
Mm-mm.
We're going to talk about the game against BYU. I don't have warm and fuzzies in Arkansas's favor in that BYU game.
All right, I got a question about Georgia, Florida from Cass. Has it ever been played at night? I'm sure it has at some point. I think once CBS got their paws on that 3:30 primetime slot, that's been the first game that's selected by CBS every single year. It's the Georgia, Florida game. And why is it always a neutral site? Back in 1933, the schools decided to play in Jacksonville, Florida, at the old Gator Bowl, and it's just been that way ever since. The only 2 years it's been home and home before that was 94 and 95 when they were renovating the Gator Bowl for the Jacksonville Jaguar. They were building the Jaguar Stadium, and they were going to tear down the old Gator Bowl. So they moved it to home and home. It's the only and Spurrier came up to Athens and put a double nickel on the Dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, was it Chris Doring caught like 4 touchdowns?
Yeah, Chris Doring had like
Yeah.
a freaking Travis Kelce type day. Kirby wants it to go home and home.
Yeah,
Well,
I think it should
Yeah.
for recruiting purposes.
Yeah, with Georgia, it needs to be the point where Georgia goes to the swamp and the Gators go between the hedges. That deserves to happen because now that the new TV contract is coming out, these big games these pre-games that they picked out with Georgia and Florida at 2:30 every year, that's not going to happen anymore. The big primetime game, there's a chance there's a game every week at 7 o'clock. That becomes the new 2:30. And then the afternoon is where the lesser games go. So
I mean, I would say Fox is setting the precedent of the big noon kickoff being the big primetime slot.
Well, that's going to be there too. But they're also going to have on ABC at 7 o'clock. The SEC is going to be able to play on ABC every week. That's going to be the CBS game. It's going to be an ABC
Florida,
night game. Yeah.
And Georgia, Florida will probably move to that weekend. That's usually the SEC make sure that's the premier matchup. Now, they don't know how good either of these two teams are going to be preseason, but sometimes it's a dud, but most years recently it's been a pretty good matchup.
Guyton Bush asked, how do y'all think USC would do in the SEC, seeing as they stole Oklahoma? I'm assuming he means Southern California. USC is what we refer to on this show, if you listen to it for any period of time. They are Sherman Ultra Soft. Yeah.
Yes.
Sherman State. They are.
They might get exposed this week against Utah.
Oh yeah, Utah's about to, and then UCLA.
No, UCLA.
I think UCLA would do better. UCLA would do better in the SEC than USC would.
I agree.
Yeah, Lincoln Riley's bastardized air raid is not where it's at.
No, and they have no depth right now. They're just not very physical. His Oklahoma teams were never really that physical. It's why they suck right now because Venables is trying to change the culture there, and it's not Venables. I mean, he has a playbook that takes some experience to get used to on the defensive side of the ball, and Jeff Lebby is just kind of falling off a cliff right now.
Well, a lot of that is you need a defense that can deal with play volume. Brent Venables is going to have to figure out how to deal with play volume. He didn't have to deal with that necessarily at Clemson. And with Jeff Lebby,
eventually,
yeah.
Eventually, they will get into that situation because Clemson ran tempo,
They ran tempo, but not like Jeff Lebby does.
No,
that's true. Yeah. So they're gonna have to figure out. I think he's just gonna have to part ways with Jeff Lebby because he's gonna need a guy that can come in that has a better scheme that fits him. Maybe when our guy down at South Florida finally gets the boot, Jeff Scott, he can
just get back together.
Yeah, they can just get that band back together and recreate Clemson and Norman, Oklahoma. But Oklahoma will be fine. They'll recruit. They've got the number 4 or 5 recruiting class right now. They're still recruiting really well.
USF, I always talk about it all the time. Every time it gets brought up, they have the nicest wrought iron fence whenever you drive by the campus. It's so cool. And that's just the one thing that stands out about USF. It's on my way to the VA. Whenever I go to the VA, it's there. And you see that they've got the wrought iron and the bull horns and everything. It's just something else.
The bull looks
already
really
had
good.
100
that wrought iron
messages in the chat today.
We've already had 100 messages. That's
wow,
crazy. That's
nuts,
less than
man.
30 minutes. Yeah.
Wow. Impressive.
Anyway, well, let's we've kind of shot it. Let's see. This weekend, Mississippi State was very impressive. Georgia was impressive. The second half for Ole Miss was impressive. And Kentucky, without Will Levis, is not very good.
No.
Those are
good for them next year.
And Auburn or Alabama and Texas A&M was just a weird game. And I don't understand why Jimbo called that last play of the game with Haynes King having a 4-second throwing motion. He makes Tim Tebow looks like he has a Dan Marino, basically. That's what Haynes King makes happen. And they're going to try and run some play like that. Of course the timing was off. You got freaking Haynes King crow hopping to throw an out route.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was. That's got to be a quick release, and you can't run that route to the front pylon too. You got to give yourself some space because there's a chance that he could have caught that and been shoved out of bounds right before he crossed the goal line there because his momentum was taking him out of the end zone. It was, my God, man.
Yeah, and they played really well, but Jalen Milroe, he's just not that dude.
I think if he doesn't turn the ball over 4 times. They're probably covering the spread. Let's just make that clear.
Well, yeah,
if
but
he,
gotta
if,
take care
if
of
he
the
had,
ball.
if he had a different OC, he'd be that dude.
Yeah, Jake had some choice comments on Twitter about Bill O'Brien, the future Nebraska coach, Bill O'Brien, right?
I hope so. Good God.
Can only hope.
Now, Bill O'Brien is going to go to whatever school Colorado takes their coach from.
Yeah.
I feel like Bill O'Brien needs a couple more years at Alabama before he's ready. It's just
Yeah, right.
just keep it there.
I like it, Jeb. I'm with Jeb on that one. I think Bill O'Brien needs to stick around for a couple more years.
He needs a little bit more seat. No,
Yeah.
he's aren't all the Saban graduates? Don't they all go to the Sunbelt?
Or Conference USA. Kiffin went to Florida Atlantic.
Yeah. They graduate. They get their first job
Now,
back in
an
society.
in all seriousness, it's Jahmyr Gibbs looks like Alvin Kamara at running back.
He's finally turned it on, man. It's
Yeah,
a thing of beauty.
Yeah, he's playing at such a high level right now that they can only screw it up at this point. And this is me saying that about Alabama,
Bill O'Brien's a perfect fit at Alabama. Yes.
John, you and Cody can go kick rock.
No, Steve, you're right about that.
I'm done with the Bill O'Brien experiment, and have been.
Also,
Nice.
yeah, I could have told you that coming in. A guy who's as reckless as trading away DeAndre Hopkins, who was actually happy to be there.
Wow, yeah, that was so terrible.
Yeah, didn't he trade like DeAndre Hopkins for a third-team running back?
Something like that.
I mean, he was first team a few years before.
He was first team in Arizona, but he was not first team talent. If you catch my drift, he was first team by default. He was an undrafted free agent.
Yeah.
Absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
Well, can't really say too much about it.
James Conner. Well, yeah, James Conner was not there at the time.
Yeah, I don't think that's who.
It was David Johnson, wasn't it?
It was David Johnson. James Conner. No, James Conner was at. James Conner was in Pittsburgh at that point.
Yeah.
James Conner was playing for the Steelers.
Yeah.
And it was, it was the other guy who was undrafted out of Northern Arizona, I think. David Johnson.
Yeah, but he had a few really, really, really good seasons. He was done by that point, though.
He had his shelf life of 3 years.
Yeah,
which
exactly.
It's typical for a running back.
Yeah.
What a play by Dansby Swanson, by the way.
Yeah, that was amazing. I saw the replay there.
Okay, we need to move on to this week's game because this is after 10. We've got the chat moving so much. There's been a lot going on.
Oh, yeah, I didn't realize it was that late. All right.
Yeah.
It got late. It got late early.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, take us through week 7, Corey.
All right. Well, our first game is Arkansas BYU. Let's just go ahead and get this one off the table here. That's an interesting matchup because Arkansas, what they do worst is what BYU does best. Arkansas might be walking into a buzzsaw here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They're actually favored in this game, aren't they?
Yeah, like a point and a half.
The line moved. BYU opened it like favored by 3.
It's 1.5 now. Last time I saw it.
Yeah.
Now the question is, can BYU handle KJ Jefferson? Because if they can, if for some reason the offensive line doesn't, and they bottle up that run game, I don't think Arkansas has the weapons on the outside to win this game. Because make no mistake, this is almost a money line play in this game.
Here's the two things that I think are going to happen, or two possibilities. I think you have option A, which BYU is going to blow them out because Arkansas can't defend anything right now, and they can't get KJ Jefferson rolling for some reason. Or B, Arkansas wins in a score fest because BYU can't handle KJ Jefferson, and Arkansas can't handle BYU, so they get into a score fest, and KJ Jefferson.
What?
What?
BYU. Yes, BYU. They have magic underwear. That is a real thing. John is on. Yeah, there is such thing as magic underwear in that culture. Yes.
Them Mormons are weird.
The Mormons and Aggies, they should just play each other in the weird bowl, the Harry Potter bowl.
Hey now, come on, guys.
Magic underwear.
Yeah, the voice of God has spoken.
Religion out of it.
I Googled BYU to see if they're a real college, and they have magic underwear. Oh.
Oh my God.
Whoop, whoop,
Whoop.
whoop.
God. So, I mean, not a whole lot to say about this game. I don't think Pittman's on the hot seat. I think he's had a few injuries, and I think Barry Odom's on the hot seat for sure. But
Yeah.
I do not think Sam Pittman's on the hot seat. He's done so much for that university. He's bought himself at least a year, probably.
John,
right.
Becky is not a Texas A&M fan. I can assure you of that. If it has Texas in the name, she is not a fan of it.
Becky, is that true?
That is 100% true.
Good.
That whole state, no. It's a hard pass.
So you're not rooting for Texas State to win the Sunbelt West?
Only when they're playing Texas.
Dream Bowl matchup, BYU versus South Carolina? No, BYU versus A&M. That's a Dream Bowl matchup right there. Just get all the weirdness in one stadium.
Yeah. The other Dream Bowl matchup would be Oregon State and South Carolina. I mean, we've been trying to will that into existence for 50 years.
It might actually happen. The Beavs are doing pretty good this year.
Hotty toddy.
When's the Netflix special coming out? I didn't know my A&M bit was so good, but thanks, guy. All right, whoop. So our next matchup, the Pirate rolls into Kentucky. The question is Will Levis going to be healthy or not? Even if he is healthy, it's tough to really come back from an injury and be yourself 100%. So whether he's back or not, I still think Kentucky's going to struggle this week with Mississippi State. I think it's a bad matchup because Mississippi State is rolling right now. So
they're really good.
Yeah, they're doing without Will Levis. Kentucky does not have a chance. Their season's over. You know, we talked about Arkansas having a desperation Saturday last week. This week it is Kentucky, because if Kentucky drops this game, which they could, all of a sudden they're looking at 3-3, and they're like, man, hopefully we can make the Music City Bowl or the Texas Bowl. And I mean, that a team that had such lofty expectations 2 months ago, all out the window, all gone.
Yeah, their defense started off good, but even it's gone downhill. It's just crazy.
They're just on the field so much. They're just on the field so much. I mean, their offense can't really move the ball, which is a problem.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to get any better against Mississippi State.
No.
Will Rogers is channeling Graham Harrell right now.
Dude, Will Rogers is on a different level right now.
Yeah.
He's dialed
special.
in. And that November 12th game between the hedges is starting to scare me a little bit here.
Wait. You play Mississippi State November 12th?
Yeah.
You know who else plays November 12th?
Is that Ole Miss Bama?
Ole Miss Bama.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Nice.
So, yeah, that could be interesting.
We play them the week after we play Tennessee, which is November 5th.
Ooh.
And then we're at Kentucky to end our SEC slate, and then we're home against Georgia Tech, who all of a sudden became a great team under Brent Key. Go figure. Brent Key is
he's going to get the job.
You see what happens when you don't worry about holding a Waffle House cup, and you don't worry about where the 404 branding is and all that stuff, and you don't forget to coach the team, and you motivate the team, and you actually care about the university because he played there. You get that.
Yeah.
And he even said it. He's like, I think Brent Key even said it, like, we spend too much time with branding, and that we don't practice all that well. And the last 2 weeks for Georgia Tech, it's shown. I mean, they won 3 weeks ago. That game they played against Duke, I did watch a little bit of it. They would have folded like a cheap suit. They probably would have gotten 50-pieced.
Yeah. And this week they've got Virginia. They have a legitimate chance for 3 straight ACC wins with that schedule.
They're sitting in the mix of things for the Coastal. The Coastal division is awful. They're sitting right in the mix, man.
It's just a trash can going down the road.
Floating down the road on its side, open with trash spilling out of it.
It's so bad. Oh, that would be a thought process. How many teams from the ACC would win the Sunbelt? And
Clemson.
the answer might be 1.
2 maybe. I could see Wake Forest with Sam Hartman winning it, but they're good. They just don't have a defense. So yeah,
the biggest surprise in the ACC this year is Syracuse.
I love watching Syracuse, man. I'm so happy for Dino Babers, man. He needed that. I mean, he took a really tough situation, and on its last breath, like he was going to get fired this year, but on its last breath, he revives them, and now they're in pretty good shape.
They got a big game this week and next week. They got NC State this week, and then Clemson the week after. So
they have a real shot at beating NC State, and then Clemson. They've all where is that game? The Clemson game, is that at Syracuse?
I think it's at Clemson. I'm not 100% sure.
If it's a Friday night game at Syracuse, I may pick Syracuse because that's when they usually get them.
Yeah,
It's at Clemson.
It's at Clemson. Okay.
I just hate. You just look down and you realize that college football season's halfway over, and it's so depressing.
Yeah, it sucks.
It is.
You're just like, man, where's it freaking going, man? Like we play tomorrow night. We play at Creekwood. Jeb, I'll give you extra credit if you know where Creekwood is.
Actually, do not. Yeah, well, there you go.
Steve, do you know where it is? You did the Friday night beat for WSMV for a minute.
Yeah.
You know where Creekwood High School is?
That feels, I don't know if this is the case, but it feels like it's in that pocket in between Smithville and Murfreesboro.
No.
Oh.
It's in Dixon County.
Oh, okay. So the other way.
Yeah, it's in Charlotte. It's in Charlotte, Tennessee.
I'm thinking of Watertown.
Yeah. You're definitely thinking of Watertown.
My dad married a woman from Charlotte, so
The Watertown Wildcats, I think, or the Tigers.
Yeah, they had a quarterback that was like the Tennessee high school Johnny Manziel, and then he ended up going to Austin Peay and kind of turned them around.
Creekwood is very rural, John. It's yeah, they're gonna. What they do to the visiting team is they cook us hamburgers and hot dogs afterwards. They fed us barbecue one year. It was really nice.
By the way, Cody and John are arguing in the chat about which one is the OG with our show.
John, I was one of the pioneers. Ask 56K Bro. Yeah, this was back. This is back before I upgraded my internet. So Cody might have a point.
But John is the pioneer in the chat. He's been in the chat for a while.
So is Cody. Because Cody was always he would always make fun of me when my screen would pixelate.
Yeah, 56K.
Inevitably, 56K.
We all made fun of you.
Yes,
I know.
But now we have Buzz in case it happens again.
Yeah, and you have Captain Commodore,
Yeah.
Anchor Don. Yeah. Yes, Ole Miss will run for over 250 yards on Auburn. Auburn can't defend the run.
Easily.
Yeah.
They let Stetquavius get loose for 65 yards. I think you're going to be okay. All right. Well, let's get to the real game here. Georgia Vanderbilt.
What the?
And I'm a rambler right from Georgia Tech and an engineer. Hell of an engineer. If I had a daughter, I'd tell you what to do. Get him yelled. The hell with Georgia. Oh.
Just to let everybody know that I'm in control and I can handle stuff. At any point, I could go crazy.
All right, it's tied up, boys. The Braves and Phillies are tied up in the NLDS. The Braves are finally back to their form.
Hey, have y'all watched Welcome to Wrexham?
No. What's that?
That is a
documentary.
Yeah, no, it's Welcome to Wrexham, and the joke is Rectum damn near killed him, but we'll ignore that for the time being. But Welcome to Wrexham is a documentary of a reality show because Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhaney bought a 5th division soccer team in England.
Oh, wow.
So it's the behind-the-scenes reality show about that, and it's actually a really good documentary.
It was in Wales.
Well, Wales is England. Whatever.
Talk to a Welshman. We'll see.
I'm of Welsh descent. I'm offended.
I don't know. After a few hundred years, it might be time to give that up.
After a few thousand
You're
years.
English.
So what you're saying is we shouldn't bet with you?
No.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
If you look at my record, though, you probably should. Sometimes.
Hey, me and Becky's right knocking on y'all's door now. Let's go. Let's get him, Becky.
Steve, you and I.
Even with Steve trying to throw the count every week and cheat me out of my points.
Steve, you and I are tied, brother. So when Tennessee and BYU win, screw you.
John. That's good.
What did John say? Welsh descent, huh? Do sheep get you excited?
That's not Welsh. That's not the Welsh in him. That's the Georgia.
Oh.
Now, I'm not an Auburn fan. Come on, now, give me some credit.
That's Georgia, right?
Silence of the Lambs.
That's still Georgia.
I'm a city boy,
Georgia.
man. What's a sheep? I'm a city boy. I'm a city slicker. Oh, Jesus. John, don't ever go away. All right. So, okay. Alabama, Tennessee. the magic question is this: is it Jalen Milroe, or is
Bryce
it
Young?
or is it Bryce Young?
I'm hoping it's Bryce
Jake?
Young.
I don't think it'll be Bryce Young.
But if Jalen Miller has to go, I'm confident he can
Right
do it.
for Peaches.
But because Anthony Richardson threw for like 350 yards and ran for 150 against him, and Milroe is a lot faster than Anthony Richardson. I don't know about his passing yet, but again, I don't
They
think
just
Bill
got to have a
O'Brien-
better game plan for Milroe.
Right. Yeah, I don't think the game plan was set up for Bryce against Arkansas or against A&M and about cost them the game.
Yeah, they got to set up a Milroe game plan and a Bryce Young game plan. It's like, you have to know your personnel here, and you have to know that Jalen Milroe can't do things like Bryce Young can do them. So you can't really call the same progression of plays because he can't function in that way. So Bill O'Brien thinking NFL, well, we'll just have two similar quarterbacks and we'll be okay. But it's like having Lamar Jackson and then your backup's AJ McCarron. It's like you got to have two different offenses.
Yeah. Also, another thing, since everybody's involved and their chat is just pumping out all kinds of information tonight. So Dixieland tonight, Dixieland Delight.
No,
Tennessee
they do
song?
not.
It is a Tennessee song, Jake.
It mentions Tennessee
We're
in
stealing
it.
every song.
I was answering Michael's question, what he said.
Not a question.
Alabama
Terrible,
has a
terrible
better
statement.
OC.
It's a very terrible statement. And I'm sure it's to pick on me, but yeah, that needs to stop because it is absolutely garbage, and Bill O'Brien is too.
Yeah.
Oh, you might not feel that way after this week.
Becky
Especially if
wasn't
Bryce Young
looking at the
plays.
chat, but Jake's reaction, Becky automatically started scanning the chat to find out if there's anything that we needed to delete.
No, it's fine. Everybody has their opinions, but my opinion is Bill O'Brien is his game planning has been terrible.
Stacey and you y'all have different opinions about that, don't y'all?
I don't think Bill O'Brien has the bandwidth to come up with two separate packages.
Well, Steve, to your point, me and Stacey did have a disagreement on that, but he's called maybe two great games in his career at Alabama as an offense coordinator. The SEC championship game last year, he called really well, and there was another one last year he called really well. But other than that,
Well, he's got a few decent ones in him. I mean, he didn't get the Bama OC job because he completely sucks. He gets very predictable. But occasionally he strikes lightning in a bottle, gets in a rhythm.
Well,
But other times he's very clunky and not in a rhythm.
Bill O'Brien
will help him a lot.
Bill O'Brien is a B-, Steve Sarkisian, and a C-, Lane Kiffin.
Right.
Yeah.
The thing about Bill O'Brien is I went back and watched the game today. I recorded it. But there was a play where we was running levels, 20 and 30-yard levels, and there's no drop down or no hot route underneath for Milroe to throw to. And everybody knows the separation problems that our receivers are having this year. We cannot get separation at all.
Lightning in a mason jar, yeah.
So I just don't like his play calling right now. Now it may change this Saturday. I hope it does. But
so you might feel better after this Saturday.
The deep levels concept is good for Bryce Young because he can move around and he can find those guys. But it's not good for Jalen Milroe because he can't – like you got to have quick stuff for Milroe. Not quick screens, but like quick one-read things. And if you're down the field stuff happens, you've got to have a check down or you've got to give him an avenue to run. Move the pocket, get some play action, mix some things up for Milroe, get the ball out of his hands quick because he cannot sit back there and scan the field because he does not have a feel for pressure and for the rush.
Right.
He just does it because he's not experienced enough. Not because he's bad, he's just not experienced enough.
That was his first career start, so.
Yeah. And if you're looking at how to develop a quarterback, look what Lane Kiffin has done with Jackson Dart this year.
Right.
Every week it's just a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, we got to go, Jackson. Go let it hang out. Throws for 450 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Yep.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you're like, oh, this dude's for real. This dude's a real deal. And yes, we had a question in the chat. Will Jackson Dart throw for 250 yards against Auburn? Yes, because Auburn's going to have to oversell out to stop the run because they're not very good at run defense.
And David Gibson asked, does Stoops go to Auburn? Absolutely not.
No, I don't think an SEC coach goes to another SEC team.
No. Nick Saban's going to Auburn.
Yeah, that was in Auburn's little
he needs an
chat
upgrade
today.
That was on Board Geniuses or whatever.
Yeah. He needs an upgrade is what I heard. Will Anderson could be the best player in college football. Yep. I mean, he's defensive player of the year. I mean, he's just got to be. Milroe is done. He is bad. He cannot read defenses. Adam, don't overreact. Like I just said, Milroe just hasn't had the chance to develop that. A&M actually has talent on defense.
And if Todd Simpson is the future, then why is he behind Milroe right now? Because
he's a true freshman.
Well, I mean, Milroe technically is too. I mean, because of COVID year, but he's been in the program a little bit longer, so he knows. He's got another year under his belt than Todd Simpson does.
Honestly, I think Nick Saban wants to protect Ty Simpson a little bit because Ty Simpson is the heir apparent to Bryce Young.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, you don't want to throw a true freshman out there, have his confidence get destroyed, and then all of a sudden, whenever he has to do it next year, all of a sudden it's a problem.
Yeah. Now, in the spring, when they open this competition up between Milroe and Ty Simpson, I think whoever wins, the other one's transferring somewhere. And and does Ty Simpson win? I don't know. Does Milroe some of these game reps for Milroe has got to help him because he'll start to see it. The defense will start to slow down for him, and that's the advantage that he will have. Ty Simpson has got to find a way to close that gap.
Milroe's
he very well
a heck
could.
of a UAB quarterback.
When he follows what's his name? The DC, what's his name? I just drew a blank there. Yeah, I was about to say Goldschmidt, but that's not right. Pete Golding to UAB. That's his first. He's going to snag Milroe.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be possible. It'd be Pete Golding and Bill O'Brien go to UAB, and Jake Thomas is like acting like woo woo.
Yeah.
Please do that again, Steve.
Woo woo. All right.
Oh yeah.
So on the Tennessee side though, like Hendon Hooker, is he? I mean, he wins this game. Is he in the front of the line? Does he surpass C.J. Stroud in the Heisman line?
I think if he has a good game, he probably should, at least for the time being. I don't know that he'll end up winning it, but yeah, I mean, if you go in against one of the top teams in the country, put up great numbers, you were already near the top of that list. I don't see how it doesn't.
I think Hendon Hooker has to win this game to have any chance to win the Heisman.
Yeah,
he's going to need a minimum of 10 wins, and Tennessee still has some work to do with Georgia still on the schedule. So we'll see exactly how that goes. Yeah, and Kentucky. And Kentucky, honestly, I mean, last year was the year where Kentucky had 45 minutes of time of possession and lost the game. I mean that happened.
They got boat raced too.
Yeah. I don't
think
they can keep up this
destroyed.
Yeah, I think Hendon Hooker, if he's going to win the Heisman, has to beat Alabama.
Yeah, I could agree with that.
Yeah, you can, even if you go 10-2, your 2 losses, Bama can't be one of your 2 losses. I think you got to get over this hump, and if they get over this hump, I think they run the table. Honestly, think of the momentum that they're going to carry throughout the rest of the season with this win under their belt. I mean, it's going to be, if they come out and play really well and beat Bama by a couple of scores even, and where it looks like that Bama's just playing catch up all day long, which that's how they came out against LSU. Think of they roll into Athens. That game becomes really scary. Really scary.
Chauncey, that is a picture of Lane Kiffin, I think the night he got fired from USC.
And
Yeah, that's what that is. That has nothing to do with Ole Miss whatsoever.
And Tim asked me if I thought that Alabama's going to win this Saturday. I hope they do, but if Bryce ain't playing, it's going to have to be a defensive game. We're going to have to make a couple turnovers and have maybe a pick six, a fumble, recovery, go for a touchdown, or rely on Jahmyr Gibbs to have like 200 yards rushing. One of the two.
So it's like getting the running game going would help a lot because LSU could not do that at all.
Right.
They rushed 50 yards.
You know what time it is?
What time?
Picks. Hey, I got a couple bonus selections for us today.
Oh, of course you do. Just to let you know, if you're in the chat, play along in picks. Let us know who you select and who is going to win the game as well.
Absolutely. This is our pick segment. In case you're wondering, I'm Corey Burton. That's Stephen Willis, Jeb Beecham, and Jake Thomas. We are from, and these numbers, these lines are brought to you by BetOnline.ag. Use the promo code Bleav, BLEAV, to get 100% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Not 50 like it was previous. So enjoy that. So play along on your picks here. So we're going to start at the top of the list. Auburn travels to Oxford, Mississippi, take on the Ole Miss Rebels. Ole Miss 14.5-point favorites. Jeb, I'm going to start with you. How do you see this one?
Well, I mean, looking at it, is Ole Miss better than Auburn? And the answer is yes. Yeah, Ole Miss is just that offense is just clicking. They had trouble getting started against Vanderbilt. Won a great first half, just destroyed them in the second half. Auburn, I'm definitely picking Ole Miss to cover that spread.
All right, Jake.
Yeah, John, these are against the spread.
Yeah, these are
Yeah.
Jake.
If it was at Auburn, they may have a better chance, but with it being in the Grove, they ain't got a shot. Ole Miss is going to roll and roll big probably, and Harsin may lose his job after this game.
Yeah,
we say that every week, but they don't have an AD, so it's not going to happen.
That's true.
Becky.
All right, using mascots this week to help me make my picks.
Oh, okay. All right,
Yes,
let's do it.
Y'all might not know, but Ole Miss is my alma mater. And I don't think there's a sorry excuse out there as Tony the Land Shark as a quote-unquote mascot. However, Auburn takes a tiger, an awesome tiger, and names the daggum thing Aubie. That's about the weakest thing I can possibly think of. This is the only situation where Ole Miss wins this, so Ole Miss.
Nice.
Yep.
All right. Yeah, I'm picking Ole Miss too. Steve, I'm going to end with you. I'm picking Ole Miss. I think it's going to be another embarrassing result for Auburn. I think Auburn's going to continue their trend of start the game really good, and then when the quarter strikes 2, and then goes on to 3, it goes on to 4. It's going to go from bad to worse to ugly.
Yeah, I think this game is going to look real similar to the way both teams are going at it as Vanderbilt did last week. Vandy's going to do whatever Auburn, Vandy, same difference. They're going to do whatever they can to try.
Hey,
and stop
don't do that
run.
to Vandy.
Yeah, Vandy's good. I like AJ Swan, man. That guy's a dude. Him and Will Shepard, they can play on any team in the league. So, they're going to try and stop the run. They're going to sell out to stop the run. That's going to open up Jackson Dart. I had a question there. Yes, Jackson Dart is going to throw for over 250 yards in this game. I do think he's going to throw one to the Auburn players. I think Ole Miss is going to cover this line, though.
Easily.
All right.
Yeah, I think it's going to be 38-14 that round.
And I haven't seen anybody in the chat saying Auburn, so I think it's going to be a clean sweep for Ole Miss. Mm-hmm. We move on to our next game. Vandy travels between the hedges, take on the Georgia Bulldogs. It is a 38-point spread in favor of Georgia. Jeb, where you at?
Man, I wanted to take Georgia in this one because they are so much better than Vanderbilt, but I don't think they beat anybody by 48 this season so far, and they've played Auburn and some other teams that they really should have. Samford. So I feel like Georgia has kind of sleptwalked through some of these games that they should have just won even a lot easier than they did. But and I don't think they're doing that anymore. I think Auburn proved that. So I do expect them to win big. I just can't take that 38-point spread.
Yeah.
So I'm taking Vandy to cover.
Jake?
Yeah, you talk about Georgia sleepwalk a couple games. They sleepwalk through the Missouri game, and Vandy, I Bleav, is better than Missouri. So if they sleepwalk during this one, it could be a close game in the fourth quarter, just like the Missouri game was. I do think Georgia ultimately wins, maybe by like 24, but I think Vandy covers.
Becky.
Ugh, he's so cute. He's so squishy. But then Mr.
Lord.
Commodore arriving.
Oh my God!
I'm gonna go aye, sir, and pick Vandy for this one.
Yeah, I mean, 38 points is a big spread, and if Georgia wins the game the way they beat Auburn 42-10, guess what? That's not a cover. That's a cover for Vandy. So I think I'm gonna take the points here. I think Georgia wins by 30 to 35 points, but at best case scenario, I think they win by 35, take their foot off the gas, and cruise on into I could see it even being a 45-10 type game if it's a blowout. If Vandy keeps it close, if Vandy scores more than 10 points, there's not a chance in hell they're going to cover unless they hit 80 points. So give me the Commodores and the points.
Yeah, give me Vanderbilt in this one. I really like A.J. Swan. I really like Will Shepherd and Ray Davis. He provides a little bit in that running thing, real similar to what Ben Jarvis Green Ellis used to do for Ole Miss. Real similar to that. And I think they're going to make the game short. They're going to do it. I don't know if Georgia's going to have enough possessions to score 45 points, which means they have to hold Vandy to 7 or less. And if you do that, I don't think you can do that.
No, I don't think they can do it either. So our next game, the game we just got finished talking about, before we got to our pick segment, Alabama travels to Knoxville and is as 7.5 point road favorites in an atmosphere that's going to be worse than bonkers. Jeb, can your Vols pull it off?
This is the first year in a long time I am confidently telling you, yes, the Volunteers will win this game. I think it maybe, even if Alabama were to win, I think it'd be pretty close. I think they may use that run game to kind of keep Tennessee's offense off the field. We'll see how that works. I know people in the chat have been saying Tennessee's secondary is vulnerable. It's been vulnerable this entire season. Nobody's been able to take advantage. So I think Tennessee wins this game in a shootout.
Jake?
I'm picking Tennessee, and like I have said many times, I'm a level-headed Alabama guy, and y'all know my issues with the offense. Even if Bryce plays, I just don't trust Bill O'Brien, and I don't think he can get a right game plan, to challenge Tennessee. I think Alabama ultimately wins maybe by like 3 or 7, but I mean it's going to be close the entire game, and Alabama struggles on the road. They have been the last couple of years, so it's going to be tough.
Becky.
All right, quick question for you, Mr. Thomas. Jakey Jake.
Yes, ma'am.
How y'all going to have an elephant as your mascot and not name him Hannibal? How you do this?
Valid question.
That was a swing and a miss, son. Smokey. Smokey.
I didn't name the mascot. I wasn't alive when that happened.
Well, I need you to start a petition or something.
I'm not
Corey,
Steven.
no, I wasn't. Yeah, I knew it was coming.
Yeah.
They didn't even have to say it.
Yeah, I knew that was coming. That joke was no.
I've been saying that joke for years.
Yeah, it's like 15 years at this point of that joke.
And it's still just as good. Thank you, Jake. All right. Thank you, Becky. Becky's going with Smokey and the Rocky Top, sung by Dolly Parton. Isn't that right, Jeb?
That's right. Dolly Parton.
Gross.
They
Hurt
are-
you
all.
They
Dolly
are
Parton.
provoking Becky.
Hurt you all.
Becky said it was written by her brothers or something. I don't know, but it was Dolly Parton.
It. The Osborne brothers.
Oh, as much as I'm going to lose my dog card here, as you can see what's going on behind me. I don't know if you can see this Atlanta Thrashers jersey I have hanging up behind me. It's a new addition to my set.
Okay.
Excellent.
It's the road white jersey.
Ew.
It's I've got a Blue Land jersey too, by the way. I need to find a more prominent space, but I'm like running out of wall space here. I can't really hang it behind my head because you won't be able to see it. But anyway, enough of that.
Huge.
It is huge. I got a large melon. It doesn't have much inside, but it's large. I got a huge cranium, small brain. What can you do? Okay. I can't spell butt chugger without UT. That's true. But I do think they cover. Win or lose, this game's tight.
Yep.
So I'm taking the Vols for that reason. Even if Alabama wins, it's going to be a tight game one way or the other. I just think Tennessee is finally at that point where they can actually pull this one out. To me, I think Tennessee's going to win outright if Bryce Young doesn't play, but I still think they had that chance even if Bryce does play.
Corey, this is the game we've seen for 15 years where everybody says this is the one where Alabama loses, and then Alabama comes out and wins by 20. So I'm taking the Alabama Crimson Tide. You will not fool me this time. We need Tennessee to win for Ole Miss's sake, so of course Tennessee will not win for Ole Miss's sake.
But they haven't had Hendon Hooker yet. They haven't seen Hendon Hooker yet.
And
yeah,
Tennessee hasn't.
They didn't see
Tennessee
Aaron Murray or Matt Stafford or whoever it was when Georgia blacked out Alabama either.
Yeah. And Tennessee hasn't seen Will Anderson or a defense like Bama yet either. That's the only hope that we have.
Yeah, that is. That's why I think it's going to be a tight game. It could go either way, honestly.
Yep.
I think it's going to go Tennessee's way this time. But I think they cover regardless. All right. Arkansas at BYU. It's a 1.5 point spread. Arkansas is actually favored on the road going to Provo, the land of the Mormons, the land of Brigham Young, the Y Mountain. What other traditions do they have out there at BYU? Not drinking soda.
Pretty stadium.
Magic underwear. Great scenery. All right. But it's basically a pick 'em brought to you by betonline.ag. Jeb?
I think KJ Jefferson's going to be back. I think Arkansas actually finds a way to get their offense going a little bit this year, or this game. I'm sorry. I just feel like Arkansas is going to actually hit the point in this one. Yeah, well, just about. But they started off good. They've slidden hard, and it's been rough. But I think this is where they stop the slide, at least for a little while. So I'm taking Arkansas.
All right. Jake?
I'm picking BYU. BYU's look really good. They have kind of struggled here past couple games, but them Mormons know how to play football, man. And they play, and they're physical. Arkansas, they've had some struggles. Their defense, their passing defense is out, just garbage. So I think BYU can find some success there and win this game.
Becky?
Have you guys ever looked up pictures or seen Cosmo the Cougar, BYU's mascot?
Whoa! Oh, okay.
That dude, that mascot has some moves. You ever see that thing dance? Whoever's under the suit.
I have not. I guess I've just never paid attention. I've been dazzled by the BYU face mask and never made it past that to the mascot.
There's videos, Becky, of you need to research this. There's videos. They put them out on social media all the time. Yeah. She's not gonna sleep tonight. There's
she's gonna watch YouTube videos at work is what she's gonna do.
Yeah.
Here's what I know is that Cosmo is the fake feline version of Ron Perlman, and I'm here for it. So I am definitely picking BYU.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah, Cosmo, whoever's wearing that suit, they have some dance moves, and it's highly entertaining.
I will have to check that out.
Yeah, you definitely do. It'll be worth your time. You'll be up all night, promise. All right, so I'm taking the Fighting Mormons. Part of their off-season training is getting on a rickety bike in a suit and knocking on some doors, pedaling on the mountainous terrain of Utah. That's part of their training. For 2 years straight, they have to wear a backpack. They have to wear that little bike helmet that doesn't really fit right. And
short sleeve dress shirts.
Dress shirts, and they get all the attitude that comes with it. And plus, they're all cranky because they can't drink caffeine. And if you take away their magic underwear, they're really going to be salty. So I'm taking BYU on this one. They're actually a really good team. Kalani Satake is doing a tremendous job out there on a serious note.
Seriously, yeah.
He's got that team that they're playing physical. They're a team that could compete in the Pac-12 right now.
Absolutely.
I think they went 5-0 against the Pac-12 last year. I think
Yeah.
after what you just said, I need a whoop.
Whoop.
So I'm going to go with Arkansas with the main thing that when SEC teams play non-SEC teams, their offensive and defensive line becomes the dominant facet. I think BYU, they're going to test this, and this line is about right. This is honestly just a money line pick at this point. But I'm going to go with Arkansas. I think KJ Jefferson gets it done against BYU on the road in Provo.
All right. We will get to Oklahoma State TCU. That's our bonus pick. But before we get there, LSU, John, travels to the Swamp. This has been billed by LSU media as a must-win for Brian Kelly. Don't know if that's true or not, but this is a must-win
first
game.
year.
I think every game's a must-win because you need that confidence. But Florida is 2.5-point favorites at home, so it is just about a pick 'em. Jeb, how do you see it?
Yeah, and that's the way I see it. Is this is pretty much just a toss-up, whoever shows up and plays harder. But having faced both these teams recently, Florida was the better one to me. So I'm taking Florida to actually beat LSU.
Okay, Jake.
I'm actually going to LSU. I think they cover. I don't know if they can win, but I think they cover. But well, I mean, if it's 2.5 points, they can kick a field goal and win. So yeah, I mean, it's the possibilities there. I just don't know what which Anthony Richardson is going to show up this week. Is it the one that played against Tennessee or the one that struggled against Kentucky? That's the biggest issue with that Florida offense to me is Anthony Richardson.
Becky.
Okay, I was originally misled into believing that Florida's mascots were Al and Allie Gator. And that is stinking cute. I don't care who you are. Even if you're Florida, that's cute. Then I find out their actual government names are Albert and Alberta Gator. And that just takes away the magic. So I'm going Mike the Tiger on this one.
And he's a real mascot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He will literally rip your face off.
As far as the SEC goes, I would put Mike up against any other.
Yeah, I would too.
Except for us, and we're a shark, and it's like, hey, swim out to get us, Mike.
Yeah.
But you're a land shark, so Mike ain't swimming.
Yeah, he's on the land. Of course, I don't know any land sharks, but oh well.
There was plenty of them at a Katy Perry concert that one year. She had all the sharks dancing on the stage.
Don't say Katy Perry to Jake. Too soon.
Oh yeah, sorry. It was Super Bowl halftime actually that year that she performed.
Yep.
She had all those
Left
land
shark.
sharks, so she really must be an Ole Miss fan. But
we need to bring her back November 12th.
Yep, there you go. I'm taking the Gators here just by virtue of them being at home. LSU's kind of on the struggle bus right now, and Florida is a team that I think if they can get some early momentum and some early confidence with Anthony Richardson, get him in a rhythm. I think they can pull away and win this game. I think it's kind of it was kind of their game plan against Missouri. He threw a pick six, but they were able to withstand it and beat Missouri. So I think LSU right now they're just not quite there yet. But Brian Kelly is the right guy, I think, ultimately, but just not there yet. And I think there's some culture purging he has to do, but it's going to be Florida in this one, I do believe.
Yeah, Florida and LSU are the same team. I mean, you look at they're the same team, and they look exactly the same offensively and defensively. So in this case, take the 2.5 points. I mean, a home field advantage. I think Florida's going to end up covering. I think they're going to win by a field goal. This feels like a 24-21 game. Florida has not beaten LSU in like 10 years or some stupid number. So it's like the opposite of Tennessee, but I think Florida's going to be able to pull it out this time because Brian Kelly's still learning. LSU's going to win. It's going to be fine. It's just not going to be fine this year.
Yeah.
They do have some wild games too.
These two
Yeah, they
teams
do.
are going to be really good next year, I think, because I think Billy Napier's also got to set his. I just think Florida's going to win and cover by virtue of being at home. I think the home team in this matchup, had it been in Baton Rouge, I think it would have been the other way around for Florida.
Yeah,
Or
we had the
Florida.
shoe. We had the shoe game against them too a few years ago.
Yeah.
It's
Last
wild.
time LSU was in Gainesville, it was shoe game.
Yep.
Yeah,
Shoe game.
this right now, it's the same team. Yeah, I mean, you could literally, they could change jerseys and you wouldn't be able to tell them apart.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, even down to the quarterback, really, with Jaden Daniels and or Jalen. No,
It's
the hell's his name?
Jaden Daniels, ain't it?
Jaden.
Daniels?
Jaden,
Okay.
Jalen isn't out at Kansas.
no,
Yeah.
I thought Jaden was at Kansas and Jalen was in L.
No, you got that backwards.
Now I'm confused. Damn it. Okay, let's move on. All right, Mississippi State. Did everybody pick on that one?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, I'm so
You got it.
discombobulated
Yes.
now. All right, here we go. All right, Mississippi State 6.5-point favorites on the road in Lexington. We talked about it earlier. I just think it's a tough matchup for Kentucky for where they are. They're kind of reeling now after an upset at home against South Carolina. Mississippi State is rolling after a beatdown of Arkansas and a beatdown of A&M the week before. Jeb, where you at?
Yeah, you always got to be worried about with Mississippi State whether they're going to show up to play. You know, LSU that game they just weren't clicking. But the last 2 weeks they've been beating A&M and Arkansas, which I think are both at least defensive wise as good as Kentucky. And I just don't think Kentucky's going to be able to keep up with Mississippi State, even with Will Levis, who has not been playing as well as he should. So I'm taking Mississippi State to cover that spread.
All right, Jake.
Hope y'all can hear me because I'm pixelated. But
I can hear you.
yeah, all right. But you know, if Mississippi State, you know, took care of business down in LSU like they should have, we would have a three-way tie in the West right now with Alabama, Ole Miss, and okay, thanks. Made me think I wasn't on anymore, but yeah. So there'd be a three-way tie in the West between Alabama, Ole Miss, and Mississippi State right now. And when's the last time? I think since Dak Prescott that they have been relevant. Mississippi State, that is. So
Hey, it's the same
I
person.
think, yeah, I think. Shut up, Corey. I think that. I think Mississippi State is rolling right now, and I think they're going to win.
Yeah.
Cassie's best friend was a cheerleader at Mississippi State. She says Hail State. All right, go ahead.
Oh,
Becky.
poor girl. I'm so sorry, Cassidy. It'll get better for her. So, no lie, the Kentucky Wildcat is the most horrifying quote-unquote cat I've ever seen. There is no way to be on Team Wildcat. So
Have
we're
you seen the
definitely going
Nittany
with
Lion?
Bully.
The
I
Nittany
don't,
Lion is
don't
creepy.
care. No, that Kentucky Wildcat is horrific.
That's creepy.
Yeah, no, we're going with Bully.
Like, seriously, before we move on, LSU used to have a tiger mascot, and they would never get a new tiger mascot. Do you know why they would never change that out and why they kept that thing for like 45 years?
Because they
Because
couldn't afford to?
No, because Mike the Tiger would roar at it.
Oh, wow.
Uh-huh.
Had to get him to roar. Okay. Makes
Okay.
sense.
Hey, that's
Yeah,
actually a pretty good plan.
Yeah, I went down my first trip to Tiger Stadium while we're doing this. I walked out the tunnel and everything. Hey, we're in Tiger Stadium. You're getting ready to look around, and you walk out the visitor's gate, and Mike the Tiger is right there. He's just looking at you with this like 7-foot head. And he's like, "Hey, Steve." And I was like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And somebody's like, "You want to stick your hand in there?" I was like, "Are you freaking crazy?" And then I immediately got away and just left. I left the field right then.
Okay, I'm not going to stick around for this.
Yeah,
Somebody's
it's
going to
like,
lose a hand.
Nope. This is crazy. This is preposterous.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, no, I think whoever said Mike Leach is, I can't see who made the comment at the top because it's like covered, but I think Mike
Adam.
Leach will say something crazy. Oh, there you go. There's Adam. Okay. All right. Yeah, Mike Leach will say something crazy pregame, like he went on his rant about coffee last week. You have to embrace the harsh bitterness
the best thing is he was like the
I hate
sideline
coffee.
reporter trying to convince her to elope.
Yeah.
That was post game. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like,
That
well,
was
you
fun.
should. You probably blew your cover there. You should probably just go on and elope there. Yeah. Coffee
Hey.
tastes terrible.
That's why we love
I hate it
my
actually.
fleet.
Yeah.
He's a national treasure. But I'm
the
taking
reason-
Mississippi State.
Yeah.
Because his play card is about that big and probably has about that much written on it. Dude, it's don't talk bad about
Right.
my coffee.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate coffee, by the way.
Me too.
I'm not a coffee fan.
And we'll take Bully in this game as well.
Yeah. So that's a clean sweep. All right, I added a game to the spreadsheet, a final game. Steve, since you're the first one to type, I'll start with you. Oklahoma State at TCU. TCU, the home favorite, -3.5. This is going to be the battle's going to be about like the spread. It's going to be back and forth. I'd probably be inclined to take the over on this, especially. But if I want to do a same game parlay, I'll tell you what I'll pick in just a second. Steve, why don't you tell me what you would pick?
I'm all about Sonny Dykes and what they do offensively. I mean, those guys are clicking at the moment, and they're playing really, really fast. And I just enjoy watching TCU. And any TCU team that can go up and beat Kansas, and I cannot believe I just said that out loud, is something to be proud of. But I just said that sentence right there. If TCU can beat Kansas, they can beat Okie State, and I don't even know what's happening anymore.
Our pets' heads are falling off.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I agree with you, man. Just watching it, I watched intently because our Tennessee did such a good job dismantling LSU. I said screw that game, and I watched TCU Kansas, and I watched Kansas go back and forth to TCU with a backup quarterback. So I was like, oh, this game's really good. TCU on the road fighting. They had some adverse conditions, but Hacksaw Max Duggan got the job done. I think he'll get the job done at home this week.
Boo.
So give me TCU.
Hacksaw Max Duggan. No.
Yeah.
If I had news,
Hey-o!
I'd pop you on the nose.
No, you wouldn't. Because I'd bite you. Bite your hand off like Mike the Tiger. Jake, what do you see?
TCU is definitely rolling right now, but so is Oklahoma State. And Oklahoma State looks really, really good right now. I think Oklahoma State continues their success, and I think they win this game and win by at least 10.
Jeb?
We lost Jeb.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
That's the reason we got Mr. Commodore.
Oh, okay. I'm on the pick spreadsheet. That's why I can't see it. All right. So, guys, I think TCU's going to win. I really like what they're doing with their mascots and their home environment, and Sonny Dykes is doing a good job. Anchor down. All right, Becky, what's your pick?
I'm just real curious, Corey and Steve, how you going to pick a horned frog over Burt Reynolds? They got Burt Reynolds as their mascot. Of course you're going to pick Oklahoma State. Come on, man.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. Their mascot is cool. And they do this thing. Well, if they were at home, I would definitely pick Oklahoma State. This is a home game.
You need to
deal.
change your pick. Trust me on this.
Do you know Oklahoma State's mascot? Two other
Tell 'em,
schools
Becky.
license that mascot out so they can use it. So Pistol Pete is like at Wyoming and New Mexico State. The same exact mascot.
How badass do you have to be to cover 3 schools?
Yeah.
Not just your one.
Yeah, their mascot is creepy looking though.
Pew pew. He gets you.
Creepy looking.
Well, with that
Right.
pew pew, I'm going to change my pick. Maybe.
Yeah.
I was going to say, Becky, tell them to keep their picks. That way we can get another game on them this year.
There you
Or
go.
this
You're
week.
right. All right. I don't do strategery, okay? I didn't see that. Sorry.
She just was looking out for the best interest of me, Jake. Can you fault her for that?
Yes.
That's why Becky's the best producer this side of the Mississippi,
Yes.
and on the
concur.
other side too, and
I
on the other
concur.
side. But we're in SEC country, so we don't. A&M don't count. We don't really go past the Mississippi. A&M and Missouri don't count.
Well, after
I
this is
guess
over
Jeb-
and we get off, we need to check and see if Jeb's okay. So we'll do that after the show.
I was supposed to say he might have internet issues and power outages now.
Yeah, he said his internet went down.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, we're going to wrap the show right there. All of you that were in the chat, it was on fire today. Thank you for
awesome.
Thank you for carrying the show. We thank you for listening. We thank you for tuning in. Thank you for dealing with all of our internet issues from myself and Jeb up here in the great state of Tennessee. We had some storms roll through and kind of knocked out our internet there for a while, knocked out my power for a while. So thank you for hanging on in that journey.
Rolling down the top backwoods,
Tennessee byway. Alabama byway. They said change the lyrics.
One on the wheel.
Well, here's where you can find us. You can find Steve on Locked On Ole Miss. He is surging towards 3K on his subscribers. So make sure you subscribe. I already subscribed, so I can't resubscribe. Make sure you check out Jake on Tide Talk Live. Make sure you check me out on Bleav In Georgia Dawgs, and also Illegal Motion, which came out. A new episode came out today, actually, so you should check that out. You can check us out wherever you find your podcast, anywhere from Spotify to TuneIn Radio to Apple Podcast, to name a few. You can also check out the Bleav Network NFL content on SiriusXM. Hopefully soon to be college content will be on SiriusXM, so maybe that'll be our next destination there. You can also check us out on these YouTube channels, Y'all's Conference Network, Bleav In Georgia Dawgs YouTube channels. Subscribe to those. Jake, do you have a YouTube channel? Not yet.
It's Tide Talk Live.
Tide Talk Live, yeah. So check out Tide Talk Live everywhere on all platforms. At Bleav In Dawgs, at Coach Burton 36, at the Stephen Willis, at Jake Thomas TTS, and
Jeb is just a
with
dude.
that,
Jeb is just a dude.
Yeah.
Jeb is just a dude saying anchor
a guy.
down.
Anchor
Just a
down,
guy.
yeah.
He's anchoring down. All right. But with that, we are SEC After Dark, brought to you by betonline.ag, presented to you on Y'all's Conference Network and Bleav Network in conjunction with the video and the audio side. And we will see you back here next week better than ever. I know Jake is going to give a big hearty roll Tide. I'm going to say, as always, go Dogs, and we'll see you back here next week. Have a great weekend.
All right. Anchor
So
down.
long.
Roll Tide.
Hotty toddy.
Go Rebs.
Gossip Mighty.
Land Sharks. Dun-dun. Dun-dun.
Don't
Yes.
Sharks.
I need to hunt.